Welcome to my weekly Magic the Gathering show, Real Talk. It is 5:30 a.m. Monday, July 20th, the day after the day that this should have been uploaded. My last week was a butt. Big giant butt. Unpleasant one. Farting all the time. So I didn't get to record this early. So I'm going to record this now, and I might even record next week's episode right after this, just to get that out of the way. Anyway, trying to find my tab or window, as stated, and I got this one out ahead of time, and that actually kind of mildly makes me sad, because when I get them out ahead of time, it means that I talk about them less on the show. So anyway, let's start. Let me go to this thing and scroll up here so I am ready to take down the links of more decks. There we go. Is it just me? Okay, you go away. That was weird, whatever that was. What is this? Okay. Why is that? Huh. I'm going to refresh. Oh, I am not logged in. Well, let's relog in. I don't know if that affected anything. Okay. Nope, that is not what I meant to do. Okay, good. That was weird that it was just way too clear in the back. We have our Ares, God of War. Ares attacks each combat available. He's a 3 mana 4/3 with like no evasion, like no like combat affecting skills whatsoever. He doesn't strike first, doesn't have haste. He doesn't even have haste. But whenever an attacking creature you control dies, return that card to its owner's hand. That is sweet and the whole point of the deck. When I was first going through creatures, I was like thinking of stuff that had to attack every turn anyway, and a lot of the cards that attack each turn if able in these colors are the rat garbage, if I'm being honest. So instead, I didn't name any of my sections anything special. I just wanted to check that. Instead, we have an Anthem section, which I think the Anthems are all things that give haste. So we have the old school one. I'm going to check printings. Oh, because people don't like these Avatar The Last Bender screen caps, we're going to use those. And this is old school. It's 3 mana, creatures you control have haste. That's all it did. Now we have Hellraiser Goblin, which is the that exact same text for that exact same mana cost, but it's on a 2/2 Goblin Berserker that also says creatures you control have haste and attack each turn combat if able. I was like, that's fine, because I want to attack anyway. And if I have any utility creatures, well, hopefully they have tap abilities, and then I use those instead. Rising of the Day, the flat upgrade to Fervor, because it gives your legendary creatures +1/+0 in addition to everything having haste. Enduring Courage costs 1 more, and it's a 3/3 creature. And technically, it doesn't give all of our creatures haste. It gives them haste until end of turn, but it gives them +2/+0 in it as well. And if this thing dies while it's a creature, it comes back as an enchantment. Ogre Battle Driver is the exact same card, except it's an Ogre Warrior instead of a, what is it, Glimmer Dog? Yep, Dog Glimmer. And since it's not a Glimmer, it doesn't come back. But it's, look at that, it's the exact same card, exact same power and toughness, exact same mana cost. Oh, here's one that's not a haste enabler. We're playing it for the lifelink. Because we don't want to use this ability unless we're going to win. Where you bring back a card from your discard pile, it gains haste, but you got to sacrifice it in a turn. Oh, but it's not sacrifice, it's exile. And then if it would go anywhere, if it would leave the battlefield, you just exile it. So you can't even bounce it to hand. So that second part, non-bow with our commander. Unless this is a triggered ability and that which we can do the orders of, but I don't know how that works, and I wouldn't count on it. I'm just paying 4 mana in black to have all of our creatures have lifelink. Just in case. Orobrask. Oh, everybody. This is the all of our stuff has haste. All their stuff enters tapped. Okay, so now we're in the card draw. Sacrifice a creature to draw 2 cards. And if we sacrifice a creature that's attacking, and I think because of how they break down the combat, you declare attackers, declare blockers, do combat damage, and then end combat. So between those last 2 steps, I think you can deal the damage and then sacrifice it. Not 100% sure. Or you can just sacrifice it if it gets blocked by something that it can't defeat in combat. Whatever's easier and actually within the rules. Vampiric Rites is the same card. Nope. Vampiric Rites isn't the same card. Village Rites is the same card. Vampiric Rites is a 1 mana enchantment where you can pay 1 and a black to sacrifice a creature and draw a card and gain a life. Again, you sacrifice an attacking creature, so it goes back into your hand, and then you still get some value. Red Herring is just a hilarious clue fish that you can sacrifice to draw a card because it's a clue. And this is one of the few attacks each combat if able cards that made it into the deck, besides the one that gave haste to everything. I just thought it was neat because it's a 2 mana 2/2 with haste, so maybe you can sneak in some damage in the beginning, and then you can always sacrifice it to draw a card and have it go back to your hand so you can play it again. Tome of Legends, because we're attacking with our commander. Agent Venom. I like Agent Venom because it's something. It gave Flash Thompson something to do, because it's part of the redemption of Flash Thompson in the comic books. You know, because like they had to have him grow up and grow out of being a bully. So, I mean, they did it with some military propaganda, saying he got disciplined in the military, but, you know. But at least, when they had him get super injured, they had him come up. Hopefully they had him deal with PTSD in a realistic way. It'd be funny if Venom was his therapist. Whenever another non-token creature you control dies, you draw a card and lose a life. That's what he's in here for. Black Market Connections. Of course, the version from Marvel. This might be my new favorite version, just because it has 8-Ball. He's not even a great character. It's just funny when they remember characters like 8-Ball. But, you know, that's the thing where you can get a treasure, draw a card, and maybe a creature. Like, we'll probably not make the creature, ever. But, you know, draw the card for 2 life. Treasure token for 1 life. Grim Haruspex. Whenever another non-token creature you control dies, draw a card. Whenever a non-token creature you control dies, this creature deals 1 damage to you and you draw a card. That's funny with the Whip of Erebos, because if he's attacking at the time that happens, we do then it neutrals out because we get the lifelink life back. Morbid Opportunist, we draw a card, but that's on every turn, but only once a turn. Good old Garna, We draw a card if a creature died while attacking. Otherwise, each opponent takes 1 damage if they weren't. I think this is the only, like, quote-unquote aristocrats classic definition piece where, you know, like the... Oh, I should just say Blood Artist effect, because that's more accurate. But it's in this section because it draws cards. High Society Hunter. Whenever this creature attacks, you may sacrifice another creature. If you do, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. Also has flying, so that's neat. And whenever another non-token creature dies, draw a card. So that's even our opponent's creatures, so that's cool. Harvester of Souls. Whenever another non-token creature dies, you may draw a card, and has Death Touch. It's a 6 mana 5/5. Combat Celebrant for extra attacks. I think we're in the quote-unquote finishers section. So yeah, you can attack, exert it, and then untap all of the creatures to get another combat phase. And what's cool is, since it's a 4/1, if they block it, you just put it in your back in your hand, and you can cast again, and guess what? It's no longer exerted. Alexios. This was another attacks each combat if able, but I thought this one was funny. I didn't put in Slicer, just this one, I think. But I still have time to be wrong. Alexios, Deimos of Cosmos. Trample, 4/4 for 4. Attacks each combat if able and can't be sacrificed, and can't attack its owner. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player gains control of Alexios, untaps it, and puts a +1/+1 counter on it. It gains haste until end of turn. I just thought that was a fun pass-around card. And honestly, if someone does a bad attack with it and it dies, it's like, whatever. Carter Doomscourge. I moved this from a different section to the finisher section because of this first line of text. When Carter Doomscourge enters, until your next turn, creatures your opponent's control attack each combat if able, and attack a player other than you if able. That if able part is important. So you definitely... so you're doing this to get your opponent to attack with all their stuff, so that they can't defend. That's why it's in the quote-unquote finisher section. Whenever an attacking creature dies, each opponent loses a life and you gain 2 life. Okay, so I was wrong earlier. There's a Blood Artist effect. Although I guess the other one's half a Blood Artist because we don't get a life from it, but, you know. This one's more here in for the goad all the stuff so you can get some free attacks. Oh, Avatar of Slaughter. This is probably a bad card. It's an 8/8 for 8. All creatures have double strike and attack each combat if able. So this does this gets around any opponent who has any first strike and death touchers, because at least you can take out their death touchers. And then if our stuff lives, we have double strike. So like if we have our Whip of Erebos out, then at least we're doing more damage and gaining more life. And then Graz the Unstoppable, just to because that actually makes our commander stronger by 1 of 5/3 instead of a 4/3. It might make some of our other creatures worse, but it probably overall is good because then we have all these 5/3s that'll go back to our hand if they die, because this doesn't do anything about their... Ooh, scratching my back. It doesn't do anything about their abilities, just their power, toughness, and creature types. And then we can skip ahead. You've just seen that I have Arena of Glory in this. That's the land that you exert to give a creature haste. That's cast with it. Good old Valakut, the Molten Pinnacle. I just think that's a fun card. Ramp section is Soul Ring, Arcane Signet, Felwar Stone, Mind Stone, Rakdos Signet, Talisman of Indulgence, the Idrin Crag, the Soul Stone. I'd probably, like, when more of these Infinity Stones come out, I'm probably going to go back to previous decks and add them in. Like, honestly though, I don't update these decks after the show. Unless, like, I do an update show or something. I don't know. Or unless, like, the deck was built recently. Good old Thought Vessel. So that's the basic ramp. Now we're up to the advanced ramp, I guess. Mahadi Emporium Master. At the beginning of your end step, create a treasure token for each creature that died this turn. And this is one of those guys that it would be mildly bad if he had to attack. But I would definitely... This is also one where a deck where you definitely don't do any of your important casting until your second main phase if all of your stuff has to attack. Because you want to make sure that you can cast your creatures that died. Good old Professional Facebreaker. Pitiless Plunderer. Another creature controlled dies, you get a treasure. This is the one that gives you treasure if one or more creatures you control deal combat damage to a player. And you can also sacrifice treasure for Impulse Draw, so that's cool. And it's this turn, so it's the super limited Impulse Draw. Armis Titanic, because this thing is funny. Because it goes right back to your hand if Ares is out. Joe Bing. I made a sound effect as I was moving my hand to imitate tapping a creature to attack. So you tap, attack, trundle in for damage, create some treasure. This thing blows up and goes back in your hand to be cast again. Solemn, I thought this was good since, you know, enters, you get a basic, you know, you ramp it growth. When it dies, you draw a card, and then this goes back in your hand to be cast again. Yay. Fire Crystal? Oh, Fire Crystal, because it has the Haste Anthem on it. And then if you have nothing better to do for 6 mana, you can create a token that's a copy of target creature control. You know, just to attack with one more thing. Red spells cost less to cast. That is like the least important part of this, so I am actually going to do this. And I'm going to put it in the Anthem section. Vibranium Dynamo, because I'm starting to put in this card into decks, listening to other people who have told me in the past, or maybe not have told me directly, but have said out loud to the void that, hey, this isn't a bad piece of ramp. Goldspan Dragon. It's a flying haster that makes us treasure and makes our treasures better. We're in our removal, so Shattering Spree, Vandal Blast, because other people's artifacts don't matter. Bitter Triumph, because we can sacrifice a creature, so we can use this removal during the attack phase. And that's cool. So it goes back, so the creature goes back to our hand. I'm leaning forward if oh, I think... Nope, okay, our music did not stop yet. So that's cool. Fling for the same reason. Go for the Throat, Heartless Act, Infernal Grasp. Rot Curse Rakshasa, what does this thing do? Oh, this is this one. So this is a 5/5 for 2 with Trample, but it has Decayed. So it can't block, and when it attacks, sacrifice at the end of combat. I don't know if it's still... I think at end of combat, it might not any longer... Okay, so end of combat is a step. And I don't know if things are still considered attackers at that step. But either way, this is a cheap 5/5 with Trample. That I don't know if it ever hits the graveyard. I need to go onto Arena, make like as close to this deck as I can with the cards in here that I don't know exactly how they work, and see what they do. Because this card's going to be on Arena. And I'm pretty sure I have it. Because it is only from TDM. Tarkir Dragon Storm. That is not the initials I would have done. I would have done TDS. But maybe that's something else. But anyway, we have this renew ability that's also kind of neat. So if it ever does end up in the discard pile, exile this card from your graveyard. Put a decay counter on each of the X target creatures. Activate only as a sorcery. That's actually kind of neat. Especially if we goad their stuff. You know, making it to where their stuff has to attack. Because, you know, then they have to sacrifice it. Terminate is fine. Wild Magic Surge, because I thought, you know, may as well, whatever. That's the one where it's destroy permanent, but they get like another card, another permanent of the same type, card type, onto the battlefield. Baleful Mastery, Deadly Rollick, decided to put that in. Because we will always want our commander out. I put Disruptive Quorum down. Okay, Disruptive Quorum put himself down here. I guess Carter went up there because of the life gain, life loss. And honestly, I didn't think about just putting him down here. This is the goat all creatures you don't control, so that again it gets their blockers out of the way. Drag to the Underworld because we are a half black mana deck, so it should be easy to get the 2 colorless pips off of its casting cost. Barrage of Expendables. 1 mana enchantment that has pay red, sacrifice a creature, deals 1 damage to any target. Again, just another way to use our attackers if they're not getting in for damage. Carrion Feeder. Oh, we are in Sack Outlet Town now. Okay. And this is just to sacrifice a creature. This thing can't block, but you can put +1/+1 counters. It's a 1 mana thing where we can sacrifice a thing if for free, mind you, to put it back into our hand if that becomes important. Chef. This is basically that 1 enchantment, but since it's a creature, I guess that's how they took off the gaining another life. Viscera Receiver, free sack outlet. Goblin Bombardment, free sack outlet. Pay 1 life, sacrifice a creature, create a treasure. And then we're back to Ares God of War. Like, out of all the sack outlets, Barrage of Expendables is probably the worst since it doesn't draw cards and it costs mana. But it's faster to get out than Goblin Bombardment, so whatever. And honestly, yeah, no, that's just the deck. I honestly really like this deck. There's probably better stuff that could be in here, but for my mental ability, I think I did fine. Like, maybe take out some of the stuff in this finisher section. Not the Celebrant and not Carter. But maybe Alexio's Avatar of Slaughtering Graz, but I don't know what I'd put in their place, if I'm being honest. Other stuff that gives me more combats, maybe. But no, I think we're good. We're fine the way it is. Avatar of Slaughter, I do feel like that's something that Ares would be into anyway. And I'm sure Alexios is totally cool with Ares being here. Yeah. Anyway, okay, so now we can go back over here. We're going to go to this page again just to show that we made Ultron. That was like one of the first ones. If we make Madam Hydra, it'll be later when we get closer to typal stuff. Because villains are fun. And it'd be interesting to see what we can do with villains without blue. Well, that was incredibly dumb. So, T, legend, T, creature, set, Marvel superhero, or set, Marvel super commander. That should be an R. Oh, order, color. There we go. I don't remember what page we were on. Oh. Minus is reprint. Okay. Tiger Shark, Abyssal Hunter. 2 and either black, black, blue, blue, or black, blue. Whenever Tiger Shark enters or attacks, he connives. And then for 4 and either blue or black, he can't be blocked. Not a commander. Taskmaster, Mercenary Mimic. At the beginning of your first main phase, that's mildly interesting. Until your next turn, Taskmaster becomes a copy of up to 1 target creature on the battlefield or creature card in the graveyard, except he's Taskmaster. And he's a legendary human villain creature. The reason why that is interesting is because of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle creature, the mono blue Irma. I say the mono blue Irma as if there was another Irma, but Irma, the mono blue one, the mono blue clone that clones at the beginning of combat. But the reason why that doesn't work is that then he would change his name, I think. Okay. Now I'm going to put an if. Hello, Facebook. Oh, Taskmaster copying Nick Fury is neat. Okay. Let's see if we can smart it ourselves. See, here's the thing, is that at the beginning of combat on your turn, Irma becomes a copy of up to 1 other target creature, except her name is Irma. So my question is that, does Taskmaster change his name to Irma? at the beginning of combat. Oh, but here's also the thing. Is that Taskmaster would then lose his original Taskmaster ability. Because now he's Irma permanently, because this doesn't... Unless you have another Taskmaster out. Okay, I have a incredibly dumb deck idea. That it involves clones. Go figure. But I want to see if this is something that is doable.
YouTube TV is amazing. Would you settle for anything less?
Why would anybody settle for just meh?
Can you imagine if Zlatan was meh?
I call him Lions.
Sneeze coming on.
I'll make the game beautiful.
Yeah, no.
Don't settle for meh. The #1 live TV service now has 10 more affordable plans. Try YouTube TV for free.
Oh, we gotta have Chameleon. I think I'm actually gonna put in the spell versions for once. We'll keep in Helm of the Host. Not Impossible Man. You know what? Imposter Syndrome, don't care. The duplication, this. Not this Iron Man, because that's not what we're doing. Oh, Lazav. Whenever a creature card is put into an opponent's graveyard from anywhere, you may have Lazav, Dimir Mastermind, become a copy of that card, except his name is Lazav Dimir Mastermind. It's a legendary, and has hexproof in this ability. Sure, Lazav, you get to make it into this deck, because this is my weird copying stuff deck that has no other motives. Scratching my back again. How about the Multifarious? When Lazav the Multifarious enters the battlefield, surveil 1. Always fun. X. Lazav the Multifarious becomes a copy of target creature card in your graveyard with mana value X, except his name is Lazav, and it's, except it has all that stuff. Okay, sure. Loki, Lord of Misrule. Loki turning all of our stuff. Oh, this is actually kind of neat because I would copy Irma just to get +1/+1 counters on everything, and that does amuse me. Multiversal Incursion. For each non-token creature you control, you get a non-legendary copy of it. Sure, why not? I'm sure we have better things to do at 7 mana, especially in a non-ramping, not like non-green deck. But you know, I'm going hard on this theme because I feel like it. That's literally it. Although it's not really a theme. Is it a gimmick? whatever. Multiversal recruitment. Yep, we'll do that. Choose target creature you control. Each other creature. Every creature becomes a copy of it until end of turn, except when it's not legendary. Boy, that affects our opponents too. Actually, that's actually good. If we have a bunch of Irmas, and because we can put counters on our stuff. This deck is quite dumb already. Quantum Misalignment. Sakashima with 1,000 Faces is kind of important. If we don't get any of these other cards, and I want to copy Irma with Taskmaster. So this Sakashima as well. Shuri Wandering Adventure. That's artifacts. Oh, good old Spark Double. We love Spark Double. Storm of Saruman. When you cast your second spell each turn, copy it, except it copy isn't legendary. That one I don't feel is actually worth the mana compared to that silly 7 mana spell. Though we do kind of want to put other creatures in this deck who aren't clones that we want to clone. Sorry, I had a muscle spasm. Woo. From how I'm just from being me and not taking proper care of myself. Anyway, the Clone Saga, Surveil 3, and then the turn after that we get a non-legendary clone. Oh, and then we can draw some cards. Sure, we'll clone Saga. Has nothing to do with Taskmaster. Oh, the cloning of the Shredder. Exile target creature card from your graveyard, create a token that's a copy of it. Except it isn't legendary, and it's a mutant. Oh, and then we get additional copies. Nah. Nope, that's too... 6 mana for this isn't worth it. 4 mana for this nonsense is fine, because at worst we just Surveil 3, and I'm like, whatever. The 11th Hour. Search your library for a doctor. We're already lost me. Whenever you cast a spell that targets only a single artifact or creature, create a token. Well, we do. We have a couple of cards like that in here, but it's like what 1, 2. 3. 4. We only have, yeah. I was going to guess 4. Nope, 5. We have 5. So I would have been wrong. But we have 12 copy effects. Only one thing that called itself a clone. This just goes... Sorry, it's just like something in my vision bothering me. I don't know if it's my hair or like my eyebrow. Actually, you go and copy. You go into clone. You go into clone. You go into... See, that's copy. That's copy. So I'm making a weird distinction. If it comes in as a copy of another creature, it goes over here. If it makes a token that copies, it goes over here. Nano gene conversion is over here because it copies stuff. It does not create any new creatures. Irma is technically a clone, but because she's her own creature, I'm letting her sit in copy. Lazav has to wait for an opponent creature to die, so he's a copy. And Lazav copies stuff in our graveyard. See, this one gets to stay because, even though I think I said it's expensive at one point in time, it's because it's whenever a non-token creature we control. So that's every turn forever, for as long as it exists. Okay, so we're going to need a lot more black cards for me to feel better about the color spread in this deck, but... And we're also going to need a lot of other creatures that are actually good. I like how Taskmaster can replicate anything living or dead. Oh, and I think... Yep, okay. Mother and Son by Topher Moore and Alex Elena. Lost control of my brain for a second. Can't control my fingers, can't control my brain. Oh no. Ho, 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 ho. Man, I don't know if you heard it, but that almost made me think that I knew how to sing. I'm gonna sing to myself later, like after I'm done recording. I definitely have the I want to listen to music with lyrics vibe going on in my head. Maybe I'll listen to something when I'm not doing anything else. I was gonna like give way too much information on my life. But then I was like, wait a minute, no one cares. Or the people who do care way too much. So you, 2 more other lands. Oh, I even typed in more, huh? So 31, okay. Oh, I don't know how much of this cycle exists. No. Only if you control the basic. So I think they only I think they only have the enemy ones. So there is another Taskmaster deck that I would like to make, but this Taskmaster doesn't reflect that deck. And let me kill some time by talking about it. I don't know if anyone who's listened to my my stuff, has ever played the Marvel Superheroes multiplayer online game. It doesn't get a second M. It doesn't get the massively. But yeah, Marvel Superheroes Online. It was kind of a Diablo-like, really, because it was in that same vein. But you didn't get to, well, you sort of did later before the game went away. But, I just got a message on my phone at 6 in the morning. Don't know what it's about, doesn't matter. But yeah, no, you know what? Let's go over here.
Watch hit movies and TV
That
shows
is
on YouTube.
You do it long enough, lies become the
that is a fighting game.
Get stars and more streaming channels to watch your favorites on YouTube.
Don't know what any of that meant. Is it just Marvel Online? Okay, yeah. So it was just Marvel Heroes. Okay, so this wallpaper was definitely it. Oh, that's mildly interesting that people can. Credit to all of these people. I guess this person's name is Scion Storm. Anything whose stuff I look at. Marvel Heroes is like, yeah, they're probably doing to it what people did to City of Heroes. I just want people to see what it looks like. But I don't know if you can.
Hello, fans of Marvel Heroes and friends of my channel.
Oh, hey, it's
My name
Wilfred
is
Wrong.
Wilfred. Today I'd like to.
He was a guy that back when I was when this game actually existed. I watched a lot of his stuff. He probably shout out to Wilfred Wrong, who has a lot of great videos on stuff. So you can see this is like the 3/4 view isometric. You can't really see because of all the particle effects of what's going on. But you see down here we have the powers bar. And then we have hit points over here, I think. That's the experience bar. And the blue is, you know, the fuel. Huh. I was hoping that less stuff would be exploding, but you can play as a bunch of different. You could, or maybe can. I don't. Neither endorse nor not, nor anti-endorse. Words failing. Doing whatever it takes, especially since the game is dead and has been dead since 2017. But in case the mouse is watching, yeah, I didn't say do it, and I'm not letting us know how to do it. Going back over here, but yeah, no. Anyway, Taskmaster was in this game. I don't remember if he was a playable character. I think he was after a while, but he was in a lot of the. That. And now I'm going to look over here. Just wanted to see where the video, where what my recording was recording. Oh, and I can. I'm gonna pause this. There we go. Because I will definitely watch that later myself. There we go. He was in a lot of the cutscenes for that game. And this was probably in the comics as well. But Taskmaster's main thing was helping other supervillains train their hirelings, their underlings, their mooks, their goons. And a lot of his teachings were like, here's how you don't get obliterated by superheroes who are invariably going to come and defeat your employer. So that's a version of the Taskmaster that I would like to see. And that's a Taskmaster deck that I would want to build. That where he would. I don't know if he would care about, like, maybe creature tokens is what he would care about in this version, and he would probably be Esper. And like he protects your creature tokens somehow, or makes them better. He doesn't make them himself, but he makes your creature tokens better. And I know that doesn't sound like Esper. In fact, this version probably wouldn't be black. That version of him would be maybe Boros. And maybe blue. Bant? Yeah, I guess Bant. Like, there's nothing about him that's Naya. Like, he's blue because he's smart. He's black because he's selfish. But, the professional Taskmaster who wants your mooks to live and have health care. Because that's all my... Like, that's also might be a bit of my headcanon, where he's like... It's like, you got to get into a union. You got to get your health care. Get your 401k and all that. You can't take on Captain America or Iron Man. You're not me. And you're not your boss. And no matter how much your boss is paying you, you ain't getting paid enough to get killed. And honestly, that's why I'm a big Taskmaster fan. Just from the Marvel Heroes online game and the lore of him having his own school for minions. Like, and that's not even something that's covered by any of his cool abilities of copying other people's fighting styles. We still need 4 more lands. So we go to land base. Go to popularity. Underground River if I don't find anything. Demir Aqueduct. It comes into play tapped, and we have to return a land to our hand. But we can tap that land for mana first. Oh, I'm not above putting in the Scry land, so that's 2. Oh, good old funny River of Tears, where it taps for blue unless you played a land, and then it taps for black. I'm gonna double check something. I have the tainted one in here, right? Yes, okay. You know, let's Ice Tunnel and then grab that Pain land just to get out of here. Like, there's that weird filter land too. You know what, let's do the weird filter land instead of the Pain land. Although the Pain land comes into play untapped. So let's... Yeah, I'm taking out the Pain Land. Comes into play untapped. I just kind of have a thing against it. I don't like the weird filter land either, but you know, we need I want 37 lands in the deck. How many creatures do we have in here? 9? Okay, good. Good that it's only 9, because that means I can put a lot of creatures in here. What? You know what? I know this is a newish set, but I want to see what other people were saying about creatures. Because like I don't even know what I want to look for. This creature's power and toughness are each equal to the number of cards in your opponent's graveyards. Okay. Whenever you cast a spell, each opponent reveals cards from... Okay, so that's milling people. You know I don't like doing that. Likeness Looter? Draw a card and discard a card. Okay. Likeness Looter becomes a copy of target creature card in your graveyard with mana value X. Instead has flying in this ability. Oh, you know what? That's another... Oh, we failed to save changes. But... are we having... Okay, we are having a time. We will give it a second. And I'm going to look around to see if there's anything else I want to do with my hands while we're waiting for Scryfall or whatever. Whatever unexpected error. I don't know if refreshing helps or not. Okay, so yeah, we're just having a time. What is this? So I'm just looking at stuff unrelated while just trying to be patient. Huh.
You're watching a toothbrush play Billie Eilish.
There we go.
Did you know that there's a YouTube music app?
Okay,
where you
so
can
we want
also
this.
listen to the EDM version, the
Of course, it
ska
says I'm
version,
unauthorized.
and of course the original
So we
version.
got it one more time.
Get YouTube Music Premium.
Oh, you know why? Because this... hold on. Well, okay. It went into the deck, so it's not being recommended again. But the reason why I didn't go into OTAG copy legendaries because it didn't say the isn't legendary part. Though it should go into that because it copies things that are in graveyards. And things that are in graveyards ain't going to trigger the legendary rule. Whenever another creature dies, oh yeah, but it has this mill thing that makes people nervous, so we're not going to worry about that. Rexiel, the Risen Deep, Island Walk and Swamp Walk, that's pretty baller. Whenever they deal combat damage to a player, you may cast, target, insert sorcery card from that player's graveyard without paying its mana cost. Okay, you know me, I'm down with stealing out of graveyards. So let's steal out of graveyards. Archon of Cruelty. The discard a card part, you know, I'm not a fan of. We're not playing Hullbreaker Horror. Oh, Baleful Strix. It's only a 1/1, but Flying Death Touch is funny. Oh, we gotta have Shieldred. I like Baleful Strix because it's kind of a garbage creature, but it'll always trade as long as the other thing don't have First Strike. And the flying, and then it just draws you a card. It's just this nice little thingamabobber. Oh, Superior Spider-Man. You may have Superior Spider-Man enter as a copy of a creature card in a graveyard, except a Superior Spider-Man. Oh, and they also removes that card from their graveyard, so that's cool. I'm not into self-mill. Not into Mind Skinner, because that's super mill. Yeah, we're not doing any other... Okay, I thought for a second that Where is my yard? Okay, there we go. That it was going to ask me if I was Toxrill. That's something that's a big mean slug that's worth copying. The Ancient Dragon. Yeah. This counter stuff, so that's not cool. We don't do Eldrazi. I'm going to want the other Ancient Dragon as well. Evil Twin. Oh, Evil Twin. Hold on. I got it. That Evil Twin was not in the Evil Dead secret lair is a travesty of justice. Although I guess the Evil Twin didn't defeat Ash, so I guess that's why. You may have Evil Twin enter the battlefield as a copy of any creature on the battlefield, except it gains blue-black, tap, destroy target creature with the same name as this creature. This thing is funny, and I like it. And if other things become a copy of this, or we nano gene conversion and have a lot of mana for some reason, and I just thought of another thing I wanted to put, a different land I wanted to put in this deck. Instead of that other land I don't like, whose name I don't remember. Now that I've done that, I realize that that I don't have anything. I was gonna put in Cabal Coffers or something like that, but then I was like, oh wait, we're not gonna have that many swamps. Sunken Ruins is only really bad in your opening hand, and I'm not too worried about that. Anyway, so back in here. Body Double. That copies those in graveyards. Deranged Assistant. Bruvak the Grand Eloquent. We're not doing any of that. Oh, Jin Cataxius, everybody else's hand size can go to heck. forgot that this little box right here doesn't care about if the card is legal in the deck or not. Likeness Looter is going here because I can draw and discard. That's funny. I'm going to be cheeky and put Tox Roll and draw. Because you can sacrifice a slug to draw a card. Okay, that does say Kraken. I thought it said something else. Anyway.
Watch hit movies and TV shows on YouTube.
There will be no doubt the gods have chosen to rule.
Get HBO Max and more streaming channels to watch your favorites on YouTube.
This old man came rolling home. One knick-knack, paddywhack, give it a bone. This old man came rolling home. This song is almost the very definition of madness. I am probably going to want more ramp than that, but I'm also going to want a heck ton more card draw than that. We want the black market connections for the card draw and the treasures. And these are some Taskmaster level buddies too for him. I was trying to think of what else I'd want for ramp. But I think I should concentrate on card draw. So let's go over here really quick. I just want to see what else they want for art. What else other people think. That you are all correct. The medallions. And then since we're up here, animate dead, ripples of undeath, propaganda, yeah. Phyrexian Arena? No, I think I'll do my draw in other ways. And I don't think I need your Incident Sorcery help. Something in here reminded me to look at something. Alright, 18 creatures.
Watch hit movies and TV shows on YouTube. Stream Forbidden Fruits.
Was it in the artifact section?
Being a witch is
Oh.
being a sister, and we must rip out the weeds, throw out the snakes.
Can't you see that she is
Yeah,
pointing?
we want the Mithril Coat as well.
You've been spying on me. Are you hot? I don't know you.
Get AMC Plus and more streaming channels to
It's not much in the way of protection yet.
on YouTube.
Wherever they went. Hold on. Oh, protection right over here. The propaganda threw me off. And we are at 80, so let... Oh, I just had a thought. Oh, tag. Oh, let's try that again. O tag. Remove all that it's creature. Then okay. Huh. Okay, that is incredibly slow. But it's interesting card design, and I'll read it in a moment. It is the Cruel Sadist. It is 1 mana 1/1, where you can tap and pay in life and put a +1/+1 counter on her. Then, at some point later in time, obviously, honestly, we wouldn't be doing that first part. She, because I assume that in the art here, is that we put her in a deck that puts counters on her in other ways. Like if we somehow made her a copy of, oh, okay, I just realized I kind of want to put her in this deck because of Irma. And like have that be aspirational. Let me finish reading her. 2 and a black, tap, remove X +1/+1 counters from Cruel Sadist. She deals X damage to target creature. So it's not going to face. It's only dealing damage to creatures. And it's kind of expensive. Scratching my leg this time. But I like the potential here. And this is like the only deck because Irma wants to copy this. It's kind of funny. I don't know. Hold on, there's a. There we go. she's maybe boarded because I like the potential here. It's just that also Irma is incredibly slow, so maybe no. But yeah, no. This is an interesting card for a +1/+1 counters deck. Which I think would have to be Silver Quill. I say Silver Quill instead of Orzhov specifically. Huh. No, I like that. Okay. -1/-1 counters on creatures.
Watch.
Alright, now I have to do this. I'm copying this image and I'm DMing someone it. Because I'm telling them that. And in my head, I'm like, I gotta separate her from Irma because Irma turning into her is funny. Changing how I'm sitting. But like, yeah, just had to stretch a little bit. But no, that's like again, it's slow as heck by herself. But if you can get +1/+1 counters on her. Oh, and the reason why I want it, now that I'm thinking about it, the reason why I want to be Silver Quill again, or another reason, is that one white legend that has heroic, so she gets +1/+1 counters when you target her with stuff, and then you can remove +1/+1 counters from her to draw cards. But like you never target her with anything because that's dumb. I guess you can put +1/+1 counters on her by targeting her with enchantments, but like there's other ways to get +1/+1 counters on stuff that are way better. And I mean, we could also make it Esper, but now we're just really Esper +1/+1 counter. See, now that's I'm gonna make a mental note, and by mental note I mean actual note. Question mark? Esper +1/+1 counters? Question mark? And now I'm going to go over here. Brigione. losing track of myself. And then let's find Irma really quick. They're not online, so they won't see this till later. Like, they obviously don't have any direct synergy to each other. Other than Irma can pick one of them to turn into. But obviously we would need a Esper Commander that I don't think that we have one that cares about +1/+1 counters. But something that at least is a utility that helps the deck out. So we'll look at that at a future episode. All these low level ones don't really have, don't really do anything. There's like some neat stuff in here, but it's not what I'm looking for. Vortex Elemental is just kind of neat. Actually, I am just going to put Vortex Elemental in here. So, whoops. Vortex Elemental, 1 mana for an 0/1. That's completely powerless, but you can pay 1 blue, put Vortex Elemental, and each creature blocking or blocked by it on top of their owner's libraries, then those players shuffles their libraries. I just think that's a neat piece of removal. I'm also a big fan of Cursed Marauder. When it enters, each player sacrifices a non-token creature. Sometimes the distinction, delineation, specification of non-token is a detriment, because there might be a big token that you want to go away. But a lot of the times that's not it. But I don't think we're going to do that. Bearer of Silence. What is... Oh, the Battering Ram just destroys walls. So we're still at the low end. Destroys only creatures with shadow. That's just funny. This thing destroys dinosaurs. I do like the Dokuchi Silencer if I like to discarding cards. Discard a card to destroy a creature or planeswalker. But this thing has to deal combat damage. No, it just says damage. No, it says combat. Sorry, I'm having trouble reading, I guess. So that's kind of neat, but that returns enchantments to its owner's hand. That destroys lands, but you have to sacrifice goblins. That bounces. The faster creep is incredibly gross. Stun counters. Oh, well, that's neat. It's so Gatekeeper of Malakir. You get a 2/2 for 2, or for 3 all black pips. You get a 2/2 that also a player sacrifices a creature of their choice. I'd rather just play any of the 2 mana. Everybody sacrifices a creature, and sacrifice one of my own things than this. That destroys planeswalkers. We're not really worried about planeswalkers anymore. Like, they show up from time to time, and the ones that show up are good, but, like, they're just not the big threat they used to be, I guess. Kaijin of the Vanishing Touch. I don't... whenever Kaijin of the Vanishing Touch blocks a creature, return that creature to its owner's hand at the end of combat. That's neat, but we're not... Like, it was cool when it was the Vortex thing, and that thing was block or blocks. Although we'd want... Well, I guess we do it from blocks. Because that way we don't take trample damage. And sure, it shuffles it away, but that's fine. It's just funny. It's a funny protection piece. Target creature deals damage to itself equal to its power. That's just funny when there's death touch stuff on the field. It's like, oh, touch yourself. Could have said that better. The only problem is that it costs 4 to do the ability. She's a 2-mana creature by herself. Lesser Masticore. Destroy target creature with Island Walk. I think there's a way to give your opponent's creatures Island Walk, and it's on another creature that taps. I vaguely recall that being like a funny thing you could do back in the day. Now it's... that destroys non-black creatures. I got messaged again. Sacrifice 2 other creatures. Any number of target players each loses 2 life and sacrifice a creature of their choice. And then we get 2 mana and draw a card. If we were playing a lot of snow lands, Priest of the Haunted Edge is cool. Destroy target blocking creature in combat. Too bad it costs 4. Oh yeah, this weird creature, Sinister Concierge. When it dies, you can exile it with 3 time counters. It gains suspend. But then if you do, exile up to another creature and put 3 time counters on it, it also gains suspend. So when this thing dies, it goes away and it makes something else go away. Temporarily. That kills spiders. Termination Facilitator. It puts bounty counters on things. And then whenever a creature or planeswalker an opponent controls... Okay, it puts bounty counters on creatures and planeswalkers. I shouldn't just say things. Whenever a creature or planeswalker an opponent controls with a bounty counter on it is dealt damage, destroy it. That's slow, but it honestly feels thematic to this deck since, like, we're doing mercenary stuff. I just had a thought. He is... Yep, he's a mercenary. I gotta look at Mario the Killing Quill really quick. Assassins, mercenaries, and rogues you control have death touch. Okay. And whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player... Oh, wait. Whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, exile it with a hit counter on it. Whenever this creature deals combat... and then the assassins, mercenaries, and rogues... whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, you may remove a hit counter from a card that player controls in exile. If you do, you draw a card and create a treasure token. Yes. And then, I do like the termination. I didn't need to do that, but let's see if there's other printings. No? Okay, no. It's technically slow, especially since it's, this part I didn't say out loud, activate only as a sorcery. But, you know, putting a hit on stuff. I actually like the play pattern. I like the play pattern of it, even if it's dumb and slow. And it also means we don't have to be the one that deals damage to it. Vampire Hex Mage gets rid of Planeswalkers really good. Sacrifice her to remove all counters from a permanent. Loyalty counters are counters that she can remove. I'm not doing any bounce shenanigans. I don't think I'm going to be playing enough artifacts. Okay, now we're getting like kind of outside the range of where I like my removal, but I still think these are cool creature concepts. And I'm probably still going to put in some instant speed removal. Oh, if we were doing -1/-1 stuff, the Bane Whip Punisher sacrifices itself to destroy creatures with -1/-1 counters on it, so that's cool. Oh, Big Game Hunter destroys a creature with power 4 or greater, can't be regenerated. And it has Madness. We're not conniving or anything in this deck, but I think that's still a solid card. Like, a lot of times a problem might not have power 4, but I still think for 3 mana, getting it this silly 1/1, it's still worth having in the deck. And this is like it does also feels like non-legendary Craven cameo. Huh. This destroys this is basically terror on maybe you'll get a creature because it has Echo. That was dealt damage this turn. That's... Oh, it has a backside. Oh. It's just that flying Death Toucher. Not worth paying the 5. Oh, Crypt Rats. We're not doing that, but that's neat. That costs way too much. That costs 6 mana. But it does exile a creature and put a +1/+1 counter on this thing. Oh, and all okay. And this thing also has all activated abilities of all creatures exiled with it. That is neat, but that whole 6 mana thing is not it's too much. Destroy a blocking creature. That's mildly interesting. It's a little much overall to pay for it, but like, well, no, we're only at 3. So I was about to say is that we're soon going to get to a point where the removal has to be impressive. Like, there's the Ravenous Chupacabra that when it enters, it destroys something. Though we have to be careful with enters effects because those ones aren't fun to copy with stuff that copies stuff that's already on the field. But that kind of stuff is fun to throw a Helm of the Host on. And I'll be honest, anything with a lot of words, I'm not reading because it usually means it's more trouble than it's worth. You know what? Murderous Rider. Mostly because he has lifelink and this weird ability that would shuffle it back into my deck if it died. Oh, I do not hear my music in the background anymore.
Hit movies and TV shows on YouTube.
Do you think it's possible to just...
Stalling, Topher Mar and Alex Selena. That was me earlier. Huh. Ogre Marauder is mildly interesting. Whew. Sorry, that same like muscle area. It can't be blocked unless opponent sacrifices a creature that turn. But it's a 3/1 for 3, so whatever. Although, but turning... Oh, wait, turning other things into copies of this... See, that's the angle I forgot. Turning other things into Ogre Marauders is funny. Glad I thought about that for a second, otherwise I would have skipped over a funny card. Oh, good old Prodigal Sorcerer. There's like an interesting deck involving Ronin over here, since you can tap him to sacrifice an equipment that's attacked to him to get something -4/-4 until end of turn, but that's like a sorcery. But that's still interesting. Good old, you know what? Good old Royal Assassin. Tap. Oh, except he only targets tapped creatures, that's right. But still, good old Royal Assassin. And we're going to go through like every... Time Elemental. That's center of a deck that made my best friend very angry. Wall of Vipers. Ah, the Weeping Angel. Yeah, we're not weeping angels. Okay, so Ashling the Extinguisher does have to be unblocked. But she's a 4/4 by herself. And I'm thinking of all of our other creatures. Again, it's like, is it by itself good enough? But we should also think, is it good if we have it and a copy of it? Moving my table, and the wheels of this table are not cooperating. There we go. There's another thing I want to check, because the beginning of our deck was very blue mana. And I would still like to put a lot of black pips in this deck. 30 pips. Oh, we're to 34 pips. Anyway, go back up here. Arkham Dexon. I think this is the same guy that turns into... No, that's a different name entirely. Yeah, this guy's from a different point in history. I was thinking of Dagon Blackblade. Oh, I just realized what those messages might be, so I'm going to check my email really quick while it is on my brain. And as I'm thinking, yeah, I had a feeling. I had a feeling that that's what all of these would be. Okay, because I'm expecting a package, and all of that was probably... Even though these are automated messages, since yesterday was a Sunday and the day before that was a Saturday, they didn't have a whole lot of updates for the package that I was tracking. So yeah, that was just them going, hey, it's going to be delivered today, don't worry about it. Oh, you know what? Actually, I like Clay Golem, because again, this is a thing we copy. It's a 4/4 for 4 that you can pay another 6, and it becomes monstrous. And you roll an 8-sided dice, and it gets +1/+1 counters that equal the result. That part isn't important.
Can you imagine if Zlatan was Meg?
Though, just remember that that if something copies this and it becomes monstrous, you gotta kind of remember that you now have a monstrous thing, so you can't copy Clay Golem with the same creature more than once. But when it becomes monstrous, you destroy it permanent. That's the important part. It costs 6, but that's still something I want to play around with. Dread Presence is a card that I feel like I should play in more mono black decks. Whenever a swamp enters the battlefield under your control, choose one. Draw a card, lose a life, or it deals 2 damage to any target and you gain 2 life. That just seems like a neat thing. So now we're getting into the case of stuff that enters the battlefield, like Urtai Resurrected over here. He has Flash, and when he enters, you either counter a spell or destroy a creature. And whichever one you choose, your opponent gets to draw a card. It's cool seeing him back, but he was from a main set. Oh, that reminds me. They were doing spoilers for Commander Mystery Booster, a product that most of us will never buy in person, or see in person in general. But one of the cards from that set was Joven and Chandler from, so yeah, let's go over here. Just need to press S. Joven. Yeah, let's talk about this spoiler really quick. So if we go back here, we go, hey look, Homelands. Homelands came out in, if you can read it down here, open image in new tab, 1995. And he had ferrets, though he never got reprinted. But his ferrets are in the Online Masters Edition, and that's ticks. That means Magic the Gathering Online. So, MTGO Master Edition 2, they reprinted Joven's ferrets, who are a 1-mana 1/1 ferret. A green creature, even though so you can't even put him in a Joven as the commander deck. Whenever they attack, they get +0/+2 until end of turn. At end of combat, tap all creatures that block Joven's Ferret this turn. They don't untap during their controller's next untap step. Silly, dumb card. And he has tools where you can't be blocked except by walls. It's expensive to do that because cards were bad back in the day. Anyway, original Joven was destroy target non-creature artifact. Original Chandler, and it costs 3 red to do that. That's ridiculous. This was ridiculous back then. I think Chandler, since this guy's destroying non-creature artifacts, Chandler destroys creature artifacts. Artifact creature, of course. So, after however many years, they reprinted them on the same card, using an interesting compromise to their mana values, because they were both 5 mana 3/3s. They're still a 5 mana 3/3, but they're now 3 red pips instead of 2 or 1. Because Chandler is 1 red and 4 generic. Joven is 2 red and 3 generic. Together, they're 3 red and 2 generic. And honestly, this new version of them is better than their original versions, because it fits the fact that they're thieves. Whenever an artifact is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, put a number of +1/+1 counters equal to that artifact's mana value on Joven and Chandler. So they get bigger when artifacts go away. Only thing that sucks is that it's equal to mana value, so you don't get it for treasures, or blood tokens or clues or anything like that, which is probably for the best, because they would have to limit this to like once per turn or something. If it counted 0 mana token artifacts. But when someone cracks their Wayfarer's Bauble, you get 1 +1/+1 counter. If they somehow didn't crack it until turn 5. But now for 3 red, you can gain control of an artifact until end of turn. Untap it, it gains haste until end of turn. So now they're temporarily stealing stuff instead of destroying it. I think if you want to go the long way around it, the old versions of it were them stealing the things and then selling them. And then if we open this image in a new tab, I should just keep Scryfall up. And then we zoom in a little bit. We got the Ebony Rhino, which is a big part of their lore. Joven and Chandler tricked another character named Aaron the Relentless into giving them this, and Aaron the Relentless holds a grudge over that since forever. And then I think Joven's tools are here. I don't know. We'd have to, or that just could be more artifacts or something. Let me lean in. Change how I'm sitting. Lean in. Yeah, those might be a piece of his tools that Chandler is holding. And then there's Joven's ferrets, obviously. And one of the ferrets has snuck up Chandler's sleeve and is stealing a Mox Sapphire. And then that's an Icy Manipulator, that orb. And there's 3 other things that kind of stick out next to the orb, between the orb and Joven's hand on Chandler's hip, or waist, or wherever it is, that feel like they're things, but they don't match anything I could find. Oh, that's a candle. I thought that was a flute. It feels like they could be something, but they might also not be anything. This is a great card, not power-wise. Its existence is great. And it makes me happy. And I don't play theft decks, although temporary theft, in my opinion, is perfectly okay. As long as you actually give it back and don't sacrifice it. Or intentionally run it into a bad combat trade. or you win the game the same turn that you borrow something. But yeah, I know that had nothing to do with the deck that I was in. It's just that it reminded me, Urtai over here reminded me that they brought back characters that I liked from a set that was terrible. Like, just, actually what's funny is that if we do this, sorry, I know I'm like making up for the fact that I pre-made a deck. Was Homelands just HOM? No. HML. So we go through here. Like a lot of these cards are flat garbage. And honestly, looking at the cards these days is terrible. At least online. Like, wow. Sometimes we miss the old borders, but I don't miss the old borders with how they put the art on the cards. This is like the new version of old borders is way better. There we go. Memory Lapse came out in this set. It debuted in this set. Counter target spell, put it on top of its owner's library. I think that's like might be the best card in the whole set. Though there might be... Was there another one in? No, that was a later set. I actually played Cemetery Gates in my very first deck that was Circle of Protection Black. In a black-white deck where all of my creatures had protection from black. And back then you'd just to be polite, you'd tell people, it's like, I'm playing Circles of Protection against this color, don't play that color deck unless you want to try to... Look at this. 6 mana for a 5/5 with protection from white. Oh, Singular Autocrat, I think, sees play because this is ridiculous. When this creature enters, you get 3/0/1 Surf creature token. So it's 4 creatures for creature. It's just that when this thing leaves the battlefield, you have to exile all your Surfs. So, you know, you get those 3... You do this to get 4 creatures that you can then sacrifice to something else and better. But back then, it was still garbage. I'm just trying to see if there's anything else in here that might have saw play later. Oh, there's Aaron the Relentless. 3 mana regenerate him. He's a 5/2 with haste. Yeah, they changed that to haste. Yeah, that is really, really hard to look at these cards. And I don't think there's going to be any gold cards in this deck, because that was a thing that they still did kind of rarely. And they were still doing the, we're going to create a card that destroys all cards from this expansion card. The Apocalypse Chime. There's the Ebony Rhino. It's just a 4/5 with trample for 7. Ugh. Oh, Didgeridoo, if you actually are playing Minotaur Tribal, it's a 1-mana artifact that you can pay 3 to just put a Minotaur into play. Why the didgeridoo summons Minotaurs? No idea. But it's a must-have for your Minotaur Typal deck. Oh, they were reprinted in 5th edition. Oh, Serrated Arrows got played a lot back in the day because they had rules about tournaments. And this was like one of the, like a colorless card you can put into any deck to represent homelands. And, oh, the original Tri-lands that you had to filter for. These were garbage then and they're garbage now. Yeah, no, there wasn't a whole lot of playable in this set. But, like, the story was cool. This was, Sarah, who has angels, and another, character named Faraz. They were stuck here in a conflict with Baron Sangir and Sangir's whole family. Anyway, so yeah, I'd like to see more. They do get me every time that they bring back old stuff.
Do you think it's possible to discern some hidden patterns
And
or files?
oh, I was saying something how I'm not a big theft fan, but when this card is officially released, they're going to appear in an episode. And they're going to break all of my personal rules because there's going to be a lot of stealing in it. It's going to be mono red steal stuff with a bunch of cards I normally wouldn't play. If I was more confident in my treasure game, Grin Hireling would be good. Huh. Henrika is actually a pretty good choice. Although it's each player sacrifices a creature, we don't like giving them choice unless we're making a deck where we want to give them choices. But it also has to draw a card and lose a life. And the thing is that if our thing is only this temporarily, then we don't have to worry about doing a transformation that it can't do. And also draw a card, lose a life is good. Well, the thing is that Irma doesn't work with this because you'll already have done your beginning of combat thing. But that's not our commander. Our commander will not be. Did that say Henrika? Yeah, Henrika at the end of our turn. Hostage taker steal stuff. Oh, a black exploration card. That's... Oh, that's Magus of the Abyss. Okay, that's what that was doing. And the timing of its ability is upkeep, so that is not helpful. We're halfway through this section. Oh, the Obliterator is just good.
Would you settle for anything less?
When a source deals damage to it, they sacrifice that many permanents. Doesn't have any sort of self-protection, but it has trample. That's neat.
Try YouTube TV for free.
It just makes this thing something your opponents won't want to block. Or won't want to attack you if it's untapped. Ravenous Chupacabra. I know it's an enters effect, but I still want it in the deck. Even though it doesn't have flash or anything. Look at this. This is just a couple of years after Homelands. I think, and it's the old border, but it doesn't look like garbage. Homelands, that was another problem with Homelands. It's just a difficult to look at set even in person. Another interesting old card, the Fallen, 1 and 3 black for a 2/3. Here we go, card info. It's a zombie. That's what I wanted to know. During your upkeep, the Fallen deals 1 damage to each opponent it has previously damaged. So as long as you've hit someone with the Fallen, it keeps it. It'll deal them 1 damage during your upkeep. It's only ever 1, but that's still like really interesting to me. Not really good because for this deck because it's an upkeep trigger, but it's still interesting. Sabo's Assassin. Tap. Destroy target creature if it shares a color with the most common color among all permanents or tied. All permanents. So that's all permanents on the battlefield. That's a little... that's too much thinking involved. Oh. Actually, this is good. It can give itself +1/-1 until end of turn. It's an 0/4 for 4, so that's kind of bad. But again, we're doing this for copying. And this is definitely more of an Irma copies than Taskmaster if Irma's on the field. Destroy target creature with power less than unliving psychopath's power. We're going over here. Because he does copy it, so his copy, he becomes the same power. Superior Spider-Man copies it, but it's still a 4/4. Irma copy is it gets 0 power, but has some number of +1/+1 counters on it. Almost pressed back. Again. And it's only 1 mana and a tap, so that's cool. Though that is an enters as a copy of. Okay, so that's actually too many steps now that I think about it, because this thing has to be dead. I do still like this card. Good old Yawgmoth, Thran Physician. The discard a card proliferate thing, if this deck had more caring about us discarding cards, and actually Yawgmoth goes in that other deck we were talking about, the one with the cruel Tormentor, and in fact I think Unliving Psychopath also goes in that deck. I'm just gonna make that note. How much space those spaces take up in that particular program. Wait, I'm sorry. At the beginning of each opponent's end step, that player chooses up to 2 creatures he or she controls and sacrifices the rest?
TV shows on YouTube.
You do it long enough,
That's...
lies become the truth.
Get stars and more streaming channels to watch your favorites on YouTube.
That's Nanner Pants. Doesn't do anything on our turn, but it's a flying 5/4. And honestly, copying this only means we have a higher chance of still having a copy of it in play. And it's stuff like this is why I still build decks, by the way. Other than that I've made a pact with myself or something, I don't know, to do this show just to give, like, weekly, just to give myself like a goal, and because I like talking about Magic, even though it's like here and there. But yeah, no, because every now and then I'll find a card and be like, oh wow, that's neat. I'm not going to remember that card exists tomorrow, but today I know that that card was really neat. And that, right, that, hold on, that's all in removal, right? Yeah. At the beginning of each opponent's end step, that player chooses up to 2 creatures he or she controls. We can just put that as a they. 2 creatures they control, then sacrifices the rest. Just wanted to make sure I read that correctly. Put in the comments if, like, I'm just dumb and that doesn't work how I think it works, because I'm somehow still reading it wrong. Flying Menace, Dalek Drone, sure. It doesn't do anything for the copy part, but it enters to destroy a creature, and then that creature's controller loses 3 life. That's still fine. Although it does our come into play copies, so that's fine. Target creature gets -0/-X until end of turn. Yeah, I don't like those. Like, that's a good way to get rid of indestructible stuff, but it's a big mana sink, and this is definitely a mono black kind of a thing where we would have access to both Cabal Coffers and Stronghold. Oh, the Corpseborn. Oh, except that we have to sacrifice our own stuff. We don't really... Like, I know I put Children in this deck and, like, something else. Who was it? Who else ended up next? Ancient Brass Dragon. But that's not really... That's not really a big support for Grimgrin. Oh, I changed what? Maybe this time. This is just very melancholic sounding to me right now. Not that I have it up very high. Destroys angels specifically. Destroy target creature with a counter on it. That's actually mildly interesting. Not reading any sideways cards. I just don't feel like it, but I guess. That isn't exactly two colors. That does not do enough damage to actually be removal. Oh, this is actually a funny piece of artifact removal. Target non-creature artifact is an artifact creature with power and toughness equal to its casting cost until end of turn. You just pay 1 mana to destroy someone's... I'm just going to say Mox for now, even though that's unlikely you're going to run into it if you build my decks. Oh, Modok. Nope, that's drawing a second card. Oh, other Modok. Okay.
Okay, you're watching YouTube, but did you know there's a YouTube music app where you can discover new music with...
I don't even know how many creatures I have. Actually, like, what are we even up to? We're at 93 really quick. And we have 31 creatures. But a lot of them are, like, do interesting stuff to remove our opponent's creatures. We're probably almost done with creatures. Like, I know we have several more pages left. But I don't think... Oh, Skeleton Crew. It's an 0/3 for 5 that you have to sacrifice if you don't control an island. And you can tap it to put a -1/-1 counter on a creature. Oh, Sludge Monster. That's great with Toxrill. And it's a enters or attacks ability. And it's a 5/5. And things with this, because it puts slime counters on stuff when it enters or attacks. And then non-horror creatures with slime counters on them lose all abilities and become 2/2s. Yeah, let's do that. Because then we have the secret tech in the deck with Toxrill. Oh, the blue shell. It's probably the first blue card I've put in the deck in quite a many number of minutes. Oh, the Witch King. Whenever one or more creatures deal combat damage to you, each opponent sacrifices a creature that dealt damage to you this turn. I mean, they actually have to deal damage. So that is, oh, what is it? No mercy on a creature? Only I think No Mercy tries to destroy the creature. So this actually is better, because they have to sacrifice it. Though, and they only have to deal. They only have to sacrifice one. So if they deal damage with a whole bunch of things, it doesn't really mess with them. But it's still cool. I'm trying to think if I want this guy. When Xenos, Yay, Galvis enters, choose a creature an opponent controls. Then, until end of turn. Well, there's no then. There's a period there. Until end of turn, creatures other than Xenos and that creature get -2/-2. That's right, it hits all of our stuff. Each player sacrifices half the non-gods they control. Oh, this made me mildly sad. I was listening to a podcast. No, it was the Command Zone. It was the Command Zone itself. I finally got around to watching their video on best commanders from each set. And when they got to the set that Ascendant Evankar was from, they didn't recognize that was just Krovax, who got kind of fatly buff. They didn't recognize Krovax because he didn't have his name anymore. And they didn't read the flavor text. Like, destroying non-black probably doesn't sound like too big of a deal, but in this day and age, like, a lot of people are playing black or playing stuff that's, you know, multicolor, and one of those colors is black. So I'd rather not have to go, oh darn, I was thwarted by anti-hosing. We got to do Massacre Worm, especially for the second part, where whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, that player loses 2 life. And copying a 6/5 is nice. That's an upgrade, even if you don't get the enters effect. Obnixilis the Unshackled is still funny. 6 mana 4/4 Flying Trample. When an opponent searches their library, they sacrifice a creature and lose 10 life. Like, this is like the most anti-green card to have ever lived. Because sure, like, you think about tutors, but what kind of tutors does everybody play? Land tutors. There's some, so I'm not putting that card. Whenever another creature dies, he gets a +1 host counter. You know what? He's going in the deck. It's a because if you have more than one of him. Oh, no, see, that's the thing, is that they're playing their land tutors at the beginning of the game, and by the time you get Obnixilis out, they don't care. And I don't play in sweaty enough pods where I care about them searching, where I care about or worried about them searching later in the game.
With the YouTube music app,
Oh, the
you can
summons.
discover remix after remix after remix after remix.
The funny thing is that since Irma copies things until from your combat phase to your next combat phase, she doesn't get the first lore counter if she copies one of these summons until your next main phase. So if you have a summon who has like a good chapter 1, you can copy it, right, with her. But you got to be careful because she keeps those lore counters. So if you copy a summon again, she would get the second chapter, and then the third chapter, and she would go away. So you got to be careful. There's a limited amount of use with Irma. And with our other ones, they're either entering as the summon entirely and go away, or they only really get the stuff down here if that stuff matters. Realized that I was kind of just skimming and not reading, but I just do feel like if there was anything really good in these sections, I would have known about them already. Destroy. No, see, like this is 8 or 7, and then another 3 black. Like, it's not even worth copying. Meteor Golem, I just like it because it destroys non-land permanents, even though it costs 7. And it's certainly not worth copying. But when we get to 8 men, we'll find something worth copying. This is a wild deck for Phage the Untouchable. Whenever Phage deals combat damage to a player, that player loses the game. When Phage enters, if you didn't cast her, you lose. And I think that's literally just Death Touch. Except it's not, because I don't think that it can't be regenerated is in Death Touch's text. So that's probably why they left it. This is actually a deck that I would play Phage the Untouchable in, I think. 4 solid black pips. Just because I could copy her a few times, because they're already in place, so we don't have to worry about that initial effect. We would just have to worry about... We cannot clone her with any of our spells, because that's creating a token and not casting. And then we have to be careful of... yeah, all of our non-permanent clones, we can't copy her with those. And then we'd also have to worry about multiversal incursion and imposter syndrome. So she's kind of a dead card with those, but you know what, let's put her in here. Yeah, the Tri-Sentinel lightning bolts a bunch of creatures. Cityscape Leveler. Whenever you cast a spell and whenever it attacks. So you don't want to. So you don't use any of. You don't use your clone. Any of your clones on this because it's a cast trigger. But any of your already in play clones. It's like, oh yeah. And now that I've thought about it, these things, I'm going to put all of these in clone. Yeah. Even the nano gene conversion, just to reduce the number of categories. Oh, what are we at up here? We're at 98. I'm glad I checked. And we're also on the second to last page. At the very end of the second to last page. Now we're on the last page, which isn't even a full page.
Movies and TV shows on YouTube.
You do it long enough, lies become the truth.
Get stars and more streaming channels to watch your favorites on YouTube.
This is a wild card that we're not using, but holy moly. When this creature enters, if you cast it from your hand, exile all cards from target opponent's hand. When this creature leaves the battlefield, return the exiled cards to their owner's hand. Because that's technically discard and I don't do that, but that's still wild. Flying, Trample, Indestructible attacks each turn if able unless you control that one specific Silver Surfer. But when he enters, exile target permanent. Oh, and he attacks the opponent with the most life. Summon Bahamut is something that's worth Irma changing into enough times, because of if you ever get this final one, where it deals damage equal to the total mana value of other permanents you control to each opponent. If you ever get that, that's great. This just it ends games if it stays out for 4 turns. And honestly, the first 2 turns are still destroy non-land permanent, and then draw. I'll be honest, I've never drawn 2 cards with this in all the times I've ever played it on Arena, because either it gets removed, or you've won by the time you've done Chapter 2, because either they've scooped or you removed. Well, they've probably scooped because you removed 2 really good things. People scoop a lot on Arena, and I'm not saying that in like as a derogatory thing, because I do it too. Because I think people on Arena are like, well, I don't think I can win from this point. I just want to get to my next game. I don't know the person on the other side of this duel, so I don't care. $99, and I think. No, I just about said a dumb thing. I was about to say that I didn't play a deck with any instants or sorceries, but I played a deck without any instants. Taskmaster, not in a hurry to do stuff. Although I think I have some things with flash in this deck. So let's go back to categories. We have 7 pieces of draw that, not the best draw in the world, if we're being honest. Actually, a number I cared about. We have 38 creatures, including our commander. More than that if we count the other things that also make creatures. I don't know what I want this last card to be, but I am very happy with how dumb this deck is, and how weirdly fair magic it is. Since it only acts on our turns, that's what I meant. I think I want to. Honestly, I think definitely another piece of card draw. Let's go over here. Let's see what kind of artifacts they want. Mind Crank. Oh, see, our opponent, like the other people who make this deck, are like, you should mill more. You should mill, other people should mill, everybody should mill. Or discard. I also kind of forgot that I already looked over here. Yeah, other people are doing mill stuff. I'm just going to put in Phyrexian Arena to be done. There we go. Let me look at my recording time. We're at 2:43. I spent a lot of time on Taskmaster. I think I want to at least, let's see, whoops. Okay, Taskmaster is already on my list of things that I put in this episode. Go back here. Go here really quick. Then go here. New deck. Okay, yeah, because we went through one deck. We went through another deck that took a lot of time. And then I spent kind of a lot of time talking about stuff that weren't my decks. That I don't regret, but still. So now we have Scientist Supreme of AIM. Huh. Doesn't have a name, he's just their Supreme Scientist. Okay, this is the sorry, I just did something and it put marks in something. Anyway, this is the legendary creature problem with Marvel. This didn't need to be a legendary creature. Or if they wanted to put this ability on a legendary creature, they should have given him a name. Like this was trying to think of a name that isn't already like the real name of another character in the this is Skylar, Supreme Scientist of AIM. There we go. Pay 2 life, copy target activator, triggered ability you control from an artifact source. New targets. Once a turn during your turn. Okay. Kang, Temporal Tyrant. When he attacks, he connives. So I guess this is TVA Kang. Whenever you draw your second card, each turn each opponent loses life and you gain a life. Neat. But, yeah. Kang Prime. Whenever Kang Prime enters or attacks, exile cards from the top of your library until you exile a non-land card. Put 2 time counters on that card. And then it gains Suspend if it doesn't already have Suspend. Okay. Ghost, Spectral Saboteur, Flash, can't be blocked. I have a feeling I'm going to make that deck, at least on Arena. And then just find ways of protecting Ghost. It's like indestructible, but like on Arena, a lot of people play your opponent sacrifices a creature stuff because they're just waiting for that Voltron commander. But still, Ghost I feel like should be in more decks. Although I do prefer playing the 1/1 unblockables, like, because if you have an unblockable creature, you kind of either want a way to make it bigger or you're setting up for ninjas. Anyway, oh hey look, it's Stan Lee. Willie Lumpkin can't be blocked, okay. 2 mana, that's better than 3 mana. Whenever Willie Lumpkin deals combat damage to an opponent, you draw a card, and that player may draw a card. If they do, that player can't attack you or permanents you control during their next turn. Oh, actually, you know what? I really like this. This reminds me of that one of the second Doctor, actually.
Watch hit movies and TV shows.
That wasn't too long ago. Yeah. Letting other people draw cards in exchange they can't attack you.
And dive into the latest
I don't think I'm going to make that deck, but I just want to say that I really like this card. It's wild how much more I like it than Ghost, just because it costs one less. Even though its color requirements are more strict. Actually, you know what? I just thought of another card. And like other cards, you know what? Let's go through this. I just have to check to see if I spelled his name right. Kevin Costner. The Postman was a movie I really loved. Like, it made me fall in love with movies again, weirdly enough. Because at the time, I was like, just a bug crawled straight up my butt and made me upset at movies coming in at 90 minutes because they weren't thinking about whether or not the movie was going to be good, but they wanted the movie to have to only take up enough time that they could put a half hour's worth of commercials in it when it was broadcast on TV. At least that's the way I felt. And then The Postman came along as a near 3-hour movie that was good. The beginning was kind of slow, but they were setting up stuff, and it got, and it was really good after that. But I was just sick and tired of 90-minute movies. Even though that's like been the average since forever. Anyway, The Postman. Not Kevin Costner. I should put non-derogatory, but I don't want this this URL to be any longer. When you accidentally Control-C a second time instead of Control-V. So, can't be blocked. That's wild. That's still wild. That is the blue part, really. The white part is your opponent's not attacking you and them also getting to draw a card. Neither snow, nor rain, nor Doombots, nor Galactus stays him from his appointed rounds. So Tataru Taru, Whenever an opponent draws a card, if it isn't that player's turn, we get a treasure once a turn. So that's going in this deck. So here's the funny thing, is that this is more likely for our opponent to not want to draw a card when they could. I even said the second Doctor earlier. I typed in the first Doctor. At the beginning of your end step, each player may draw a card. Each player who does can't attack you or permanents you control during their next turn. So, and he costs 4 instead of 2. Oh, and this player's has no maximum hand size. I forgot what I did with the rest of that deck. And I hope Taro made it into that deck. There's a specific rabbit whose name I forget.
Hit movies and TV shows on YouTube.
Each player may draw a card, then each player who drew a card this way gains a life.
And more streaming channels to watch your favorites on YouTube.
I would only want Quain doing stuff if Taro is out. But that's just the thing I thought about. Changing how I'm sitting without aggravating my back. Moderate success. There's a piece of text on Taro I want to see if he's on other cards. Ah, there's literally only 2 cards. Whenever a player casts their spell, if it isn't their turn. We either +1/+1 counter on vision, or we have him phase out, which protects him from removal. That doesn't really do anything for me. Although I'm going here because I'm actually really curious. This is going to be ramp. Oh, whenever opponent draws a card, they lose a life? Yeah, of course. I don't care about us drawing a card. Since we're sitting right here, I'm going to put in these ramp pieces. Yeah, no, they were going in the deck. There's these other things that have our opponents draw cards that I'm not... Oh, the Greaves and the Boots. That I'm not putting in. I only put in that creature because he was interesting. Oh, Silent Arbiter, actually, I like. Oh, the Buster Sword. Oh, and Genji Glove. Sure, why not? Let's equip him up. And we're going over here because that resets this. I see where they're going with the Colossus Hammer because we want to make him as big as possible. But I don't know how much cheating of equip costs we're going to be doing in this deck. Oh, the Wedding Ring. That's mildly interesting. Oh, Mithril Coat, thank you for showing up. I still got to grab the rest of the ramp pieces. That really just goes straight to... There we go. Council of 4. Oh, yep, Faramir. That's the one where we either draw a card or get creatures. Oh, so crates. That's the one where we can turn damage into card draw. Oh, there we go. Everett. Whenever a creature opponent attacks us with 2 or more creatures, we draw a card. We're going to put in a lot of that stuff. Huh. If we get 10 +1/+1 counters on this guy, we draw 5 cards and gain 5 life. Not sure I care. Whenever we draw a card, he gets a +1/+1 counter on them, by the way. So that's like 5 turns. Whenever we draw a second card, we get a soldier. That's fine. Propaganda and Ghostly Prison. Because we want to discourage them from attacking us anyway. Although this would incentivize them to actually draw the card. So you got to be careful there. Oh, Duelist Heritage. Yeah, no, I get it. Whenever you attack, 1 or more creatures attack. Oh, that's when anyone. So we can have other people's stuff. So if someone attacks someone else, I can give one of their things double strike. Trouble in pairs. Oh, wait, there's someone over here up in creatures I didn't see. Wait, we're gonna do this. We're gonna go there. Go to creatures.
And more streaming channels to watch your favorites on YouTube.
I know I could just look them up. You know what? They would like the Flumph. There he is, Mengar the Diplomat. He was after Abolisher, that's why he didn't. Oh, Master of Ceremonies. Hold on, let's read this. And actually, really quick. Okay, no. That's just between songs. At the beginning of your upkeep, each opponent chooses money, friends, or secrets. For each player who chose money, you and them get a treasure token. For each player who chose friends, you and them get a creature. For each player who chose secrets, you and that player draw a card. Yes, we will take Master of Ceremonies. A card I probably would have forgot about. Look at that. I always like going there and then seeing it empty is always mildly funny. You also going to draw. I see how they called you finisher, but that's not exactly true. Look at all that card draw you can have if you don't care about your opponents drawing cards too. Yeah, we're Voltroning the heck out of Willie Lumpkin. Hey, we're up to 13 creatures already. For what it's worth. Oh, okay. I believe I should put in my lands before I forget. Let's go to land base. Although if I'm going to go to all printings, I might also grab the Marvel for full art. I'm actually mildly looking forward to The Hobbit. Because it's a Magic set that actually feels like Magic the Gathering. I know I say that, and yet I don't hate. Like, you don't see me hating on this Marvel set. In fact, there are more commanders in this set that I want to build than in a couple of actual Magic sets we've had past. And some of it is very little. If we go back over here to home, when was the villainy deck? Oh, I actually haven't actually made the villainy deck yet. I'm glad I looked. It's funny how Bullseye's card is broken for the image. Like, would have I built this deck if it wasn't Bullseye? Well, the thing is that I built him because I really liked weapons manufacturing, and he was a good outlet for that. But there's probably other commanders that, I mean, like, there's all the Dorettis. I definitely would have built Ares the whole time. Wait, yeah, I can do that one too. Although, wait, I don't think the deck cares where it is. There we go. I don't think I need a Darkar Wastes. I understand why they want Reliquary Tower, but I'm not going to be worried about my hand size, because I always end up. Two more opponents. The Scry one. The Bounce one. That one. Oh, the Nimbus Maze, yeah. The Surveil one. And the music stopped again. It's weird when they stop it in the middle of a song. It is so quiet for me. There we go. So the allied colors definitely got theirs. For the, it makes colorless or its colors if you control the basic. Doesn't have the land types, which is fine because if it had the land types, they'd almost definitely make sure that it only came into play tapped. Oh, hey, look, we missed one. 36 out of 37. So we missed a Darkheart Waste, but we're going to look for other stuff first. Yeah, we'll do the Mystic Gate instead. Even though you need colors to make colors with it. And there's a good chance we're going to have lifelink in this deck. I'm just making a statement. But the more quote-unquote good duels, they manage to innovate a new way to ask whether or not it's going to come into play tapped or not, the better. I don't really need to change. No, I kind of want to... Okay, so this... There we go. Shuffled one of my cushions over. Okay, we're at 37 lands. 7. Okay, that's what we're going to fix. We're going to make... Ah, okay. That was me clapping my hands. We're having another internet. So we gotta wait a hot minute. Oh wow, the old versus system. Part of my left, that is my left eye is sore, but it's not my eye. It's like my eyelid is sore, and that is so incredibly weird. There we go. Oh, it didn't yell at me. That's good. just to pick up the ones I'm missing. Dowsing Dagger, because our commander can't be blocked. Look at that. Look at that hot piece of tech. Mind Stone, that was on the list for some reason when we were looking at EDH Rec. Well, we'll put in the Mind Stone, and whatever the blue one ends up being. Oh, Iron Crag. And so much potential card draw. Oh, no, you go down there. Yeedly Hoddly. How many creatures are we up to? It's 13, because I haven't put in a single creature since the last time I checked. Where are we going next? I'm mildly thinking of being low on removal, I know. That's weird. Because my thing is, my main thing is to kind of be just aggro with our unblockable commander. And I have a feeling that that Colossus Hammer is going to go back into this deck. So, Sigarda's Aid. You can cast Aura and Equipment as though they had Flash, and when they enter the battlefield, you get a free equip. So that's going to be Captain America's Aid. I gotta remember Sigarda's summons for that other deck. I'm not like putting it on the list because it's probably going to be a lot easier to remember than the other things. Let's look for our equipment tutors. Cloud Tutor is a piece of equipment. That's way too much. Steel Shaper's Gift, it's a sorcery that only costs 1, so that's good. And then Stoneforge Mystic can also cheat them into play. And I think that's the maximum number of tutors we can have before we go to auto bracket 3. I'm going to put one more in. Although now, actually, maybe I don't want to. Oh, there's Open the Armory. That's the one. That's the one that'll be taken out. Oh, it can search for auras. That's why it costs 1 more. So now we scroll up here. Oh, no, we're not yet in auto bracket 2. Huh. Or auto bracket 3, I should say. I'm seeing if any of these more expensive ones actually put it into play. This puts it into play, but you got to sacrifice an artifact or creature. This gets a cheap one into the play, but I think I'd probably still rather open the armory. Because we're getting low to the ground ones. Although like while we're here. So four equipment tutors did not trigger it, and none of these other ones. Yeah, they either cost too much, and the creature that it's attached to isn't really worth it. Like, this is basically casting it from your deck. That's mildly interesting. Trailblazer Torch somehow got the tutor O tag, even though there is no words on it, unless there's a tutor on the in the Undercity. Okay. That is all the tutors I want anyway. What's our creature count now? 15? Okay. Obviously still want creatures. Whoops, I did not mean to do that. Whoops. I mean, a lot of these lower level ones won't matter, but it's... Oh, Basilisk Collar. I think Colossus Hammer will go in here. Is music still playing? Ambient, the ambient. It's a 23-minute, makes very little sound. Prying Blade. Gets us treasures. Shadow Spear to make stuff not indestructible or hexproof. Whenever a creature attacks alone, untap it and scry one. I don't know how much we want to block with our commander, but that is an interesting thing to think about. I just realized I have the word O equip here. No, it's T equipment. Okay. Let's actually read these, because I was, well, not read these out loud, but we're just looking through these. Is he a citizen, by the way? Yep, he's just a human citizen. Did I go back to the first page? Hold on. Did I literally just go to a page that I was already on? There are things I'm expecting to see that I'm not seeing, by the way. You know what it is? So click 3. Now we go to 4. And now we can go to 5. We'll do the gold vein pick as well. Oh, Lion Sash to remove stuff from other people's graveyards. You never know when you'll want to. We don't have to worry about other people's death touch. I mean, we should, but like not for our commander. Not where it matters. I didn't see Inchblade champion. That's what it was. Cielo. I remember that pronunciation because of Digital Devil Saga by Huma Huma. Reality ship. Cast stuff off the top of our deck. Never underestimate non-basic land walking, Commander. I'm going to throw some O-tags down later. Oh, base power 7/7, actually. Just to make his base power higher. We don't care about that blocked part, but, you know. Increasing our base power and toughness ain't bad. Oh, the... We do have 20 lands in the deck, so I could go back for Sword of the Animist, which I think I missed. And also have Bitterthorn Nissa's Animus. As ramp pieces. Cloudsteel Curian, just to be a jerk. That's the one where if it's equipped to a creature, we can't lose the game and our opponents can't win the game. Oh, this is an additional piece of hexproof. The Champion's Helm. I've put that on a few decks, quite a few things before. Second piece of Indestructible. It's not as good as any of the other pieces of Indestructible that we can put in the deck, but here we are. That sword is great, except not really. They really wasted that name on a 3 mana a piece of equipment that gives +3/+0 and equips for 3. Oh, Iron Man's armor is actually really good. The Iron Man armor that, if you just pay to turn it into a creature, it's a construct. So we'll put that in there. Oh, loses their half their life, run it up just to make things a lot quicker. We're going to skip past all of the Swords of. Hammer of Nazahan, although I think there is a... We're not Helm. Helm of the Host actually ain't that bad. Cloning our command... Yeah, cloning our commander. Sure, why not? Hulkbuster armor. Base power 9/9 and has flying. Oh, it's equip hero 3, equip everything else 6.
Get HBO Max and more streaming channels to watch your favorites on YouTube.
I'm not the biggest Iron Man fan, but I just really love the design of the Hulkbuster armor. Meteor Sword, of course. Ultimate Sword, of course. Excalibur, of course, because we have a lot of historic. That's cute if we can get it out and still have a lot of life. Aether Spark. Oh, there's card draw right there. Well, that put us at 98. It's another piece of card draw. $16 pieces of ramp. 5 things that actually got labeled in removal. One of them removes stuff from discard piles. One of them is player removal. And the other 2 I have a high casting cost. Geez, where do we even put the Iron Man armor? I think just for myself, I'm going to put it into protection because it's like, oh hey look, suddenly I have a creature. We have 19 creatures, 20 creatures if we want to count paying for the armor. Oh, there were specific oak tags I wanted to look at. All the clue ones. That creates a blood token. I do love Infiltration Lens, just not for this deck because obviously our commander isn't getting blocked. I don't feel the need to discard cards. Whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. Yeah. And it's a creature in its own right. And we can only fit one more card in this deck now, because I believe that just put us at 99. Yep, okay. And that's the reason why the Acquisition Octopus makes it in, and the Rogue's Gloves don't. Because Acquisition Octopus is a creature I can block with if I need to. that introduces the Monarch. Paradise Mantle, I understand. There we go. Sword of the Animist. Because I also put in Bitterthorn. And we're going to be done with this deck. I probably went overboard with the equipment. But I don't care. This deck could certainly be a lot better. Especially since it's mostly white with just a little blue in it. And my land base does not reflect that. But we'll be fine because we're actually not. We're not that pip heavy, to be honest. Our deck is actually mostly colorless. Yeah, the most pips we need is Cloud. Cloud is 2 white pips. I don't think I saw anything else with more than 1 pip of a single color, I mean. Because obviously we have a lot of things with 2 pips. Oh wait, Trouble in Paris is 2 white pips. There we go. But I think we'll be fine. And then I already, yep, that's over there, ready to be done. Then we go over to this window. Actually, I like that thing I did. Hold on. Going back over this window. We are hitting new deck. We're going to look at a couple of more creatures. I'm going to do it like this. Just since... Oh, we just started white-blue. We're probably not going to make any more decks in this episode. I just want to talk about the creatures really quick. War Machine James Rhodes.
Hey, it's Ryan Beatty. Check out my
when he attacks, taps a creature. Jane Foster's Thor. Whenever she attacks, she blinks a thing. Okay. And then she's also SRAM Cedar Artificer, because although only equipment and not auras as well. Jane Foster could have made it into the Willie deck just because of all the equipment we had, but So, Azurius equipment with Blink Shenanigans. I don't know if that will... Like, I'm always making the Azorius Blink deck, and I don't know if I want to make the Azorius Blink deck again. Just imagine in your head all the other times I made Azorius Blink, but then take out stuff for equipment and put Jane Foster as the commander. You know what? That's a series of words that's not going to mean anything to me. You know, I am going to write this down for next week. Sure, why not? That's going to be one of the ones where I make it in between episodes, just to zoom through it. Spiral Woman, Secret Agent, she taps stuff, but she keeps it tapped until she goes away. The Vibranium Technologist, when she enters, you either get a thing or draw a card, so that's not exciting for a commander. Oh, Shang-Chi draws us a bunch of cards at some point. Although, see, he might be interesting because there are the things that say you can take a counter off something to draw a card, and so that might be fun. We have our Azorius Merfolk Commander. And then King T'Challa. Oh, whenever a player draws their second card each turn, you draw a card. So that's a... and then we can transform him... That prevents all combat damage. When he ever deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. Okay, he's kind of his own thing. We already... Okay, so we already closed that deck. And I don't know what I would take out for this. Because that's a good... when I'm drawing my second card, I draw a third card. But I don't think I'd take anything out of that other deck for this. Dragon Man Reformed Robot. Okay. His power and toughness are equal to non-creature permanents you control. And non-creature cards in your graveyard. And then you can also cast them from your graveyard to avoid commander attacks. Captain America untaps your stuff if the first time it becomes tapped in a turn, so that's cool. He gives your entire team pseudo-vigilance, or allows them to use their ability and then still attack, their tap ability. Black Bolt, Inhuman King. Whenever he casts non-creature spell, he gets bigger.
You mind if I make one more stop before heading back?
Oh, and then he has this little thing of, if someone wants to target him, you can destroy a thing of theirs. Like, that's definitely good commander, but I'm not going to build that deck because I don't know what the heck the rest of the deck would be. It'd be Spellslinger, I guess, because he has flying and he has super prowess. Right? Yeah, that's just prowess. His prowess is non-creature spells for +1/+1, but he gets +2/+2. Yeah, so really cool commander. Not really good enough for Is that the reference? Hold on. Yeah, that's a song. Okay. A song by a band I don't listen to. Nothing. Oh. She is a doctor. Anyway, so... Is there other card also white or blue? Dr. Jane Foster. When she enters, she deals 4 damage to target tapped creature an opponent controls. That's mildly cool. When Jane Foster enters, return dark creature. Oh, she's an on enter Sun Titan. Oh no, it goes to your hand, but if you gain life, it goes to the battlefield. Okay. I just wanted to know what the Jane Foster did. Oh, but now that I have this, I can go see if I'm right or wrong or on something. Let's go back to the Postman, non-Kevin Costner. Yeah, I just really like this. And what am I going to take out for that? I'm actually just take out Flump. Though, I don't know, something about Willie Lumpkin makes me want to hold on to Flump. I'm looking at Helm of the Host. That's actually, as long as we can get it on our commander, that's actually a good card. Oh, this gives our commander lifelink as well, so that's sweet. Oh yeah, the Aerith's Spark also potentially draws us cards. Oh, and it also puts plus multiple encounters on our commander, so that's also good. What's funny is I'm actually just thinking of Champion's Helm, but it equips for 1, which is basically... I was about nope. Yeah, we're going to get rid of Champion's Helm. There we go. Speaking of champions, you know what it is? The card I'm thinking about, I think, is an arena-only card. I think it's an alchemy card. Is it not a champion? Companion. Good lord. And it is an alchemy card. Even though it didn't need to be an alchemy card. Because its equipped creature gets +1/+1. Whenever it becomes attached to a creature, create a token that's a copy of Inchblade Champion, except it doesn't have this ability. Only triggers once a turn. And it's reconfigured for 2 because it's a creature. I think they made it an alchemy card because in paper that would be really difficult to keep track of. But that's how you sell infinite tokens. Because that's a perfectly legal and paper card, and that's why it was driving me nuts. Because A, it's companion, not champion, and B, it was alchemy. An alchemy card I use in my equipment decks. So by next week, we'll have Diary of Jane, and then we'll be going on the supposedly mono green, or green, but maybe with extra colors in its identity, because that's how this stuff orders things. Weird that the thing is listed twice. Hey, Architect, you might want to fix that because I'm pretty sure these are the exact same card. But I also talked about the thing and all that way back in an earlier episode. Anyway, see you next time.